Okay, so we've been talking about refuge. And you know, for people who didn't grow up Buddhist, then it's really important to learn about the Dharma and the teachings and the qualities of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha before deciding to become a Buddhist. And when you're doing that learning, it's important to see, to listen to the teachings with a very clear mind that is, as much as possible, free from our preconceptions of whatever religion we grew up in. Because very often what happens is we approach Buddhism with some of the same preconceptions from how we grew up, and then we get all tangled up. There was one person who was afraid that they have a lot of faith in the Three Jewels, but they were afraid that they would, because of their faith in the Three Jewels, they would go to Christian hell. But if they believe in Christianity, then they would go to Buddhist hell. You know, because you have wrong views in one or the other. So this kind of way of thinking, we get very tangled up, and it's not necessary to think in that kind of way. And similarly, when we may have grown up relating to God in a particular way, but in Buddhism we relate to the Buddha in a different way. And though we talk about making prayers in Buddhism, the meaning of prayers is very different than the meaning in a theistic religion. So it's an adjustment that we have to make in the mind, because unlike theistic religions, the Buddha is not a creator. You know, the Buddha rather is a describer. You know, he didn't make up the path, he didn't create the universe, nothing. Rather, he just described how things function, and he's sharing that description with us, and then it's up to us to practice. You know, we don't have to please the Buddha because the Buddha created us or something like that. That kind of way of thinking is not in Buddhism at all. And so even when you hear different Buddhist prayers, it may sound like we're sometimes requesting the Buddha for realizations. You have to understand that the meaning of request in Buddhism isn't as in Christianity. In Christianity or Judaism, Islam, you're really requesting God or Allah to do it for you. In Buddhism, we request, but at the end the Buddha dissolves into us. So it's really pointing out that we project outwards our own inner potential and Buddha nature, make requests to it, you know, and then dissolve it back inside, so that we get the point that we're the ones who have to practice and transform our minds. Okay? That doesn't mean that the Buddhas can't inspire us or bless us or help in any way. Yes, they can, but we also have to create the cause for that to happen. Okay, so it's not done just by faith or worship or something like that. So it's really important that we learn what the qualities of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are, and how to relate to them properly from a Buddhist perspective, and as much as possible leave behind the ways of thinking that we grew up with. And even though some of them are very subtle and they come into our mind when we least expect it, then we have to notice them and remind ourselves that, wait, no, those are conceptions that belong to a theistic religion. Buddhism is different, okay? So for example, in Buddhism, there's no punishment or reward, okay? And Buddha doesn't give us a good rebirth or a bad rebirth. You know, there's none of that way of thinking in Buddhism. So it's quite important to understand this. Also, when we take refuge, we should really have a clear refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and not mix it up with refuges, for example, in different spirits or in channelers or in, you know, any of that kind of different New Age things, or, you know, at the beginning when you're learning Buddhism, you know, you might have a lot of different things on your stove, and that's fine. But at a certain point, when you really decide that you want to become a Buddhist, then you have to kind of clear away the excess things and the extra things and have a very clear idea in your own mind about what you believe, you know. But like I said at the beginning, when we're just learning Buddhism, you know, that's the way it is. We have lots of different beliefs. Also, some people like to learn about Buddhism and incorporate Buddhist practices, but they don't want to become a Buddhist, and that's completely fine. The label is inconsequential. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. Some people may believe in God and may belong to a theistic religion, but they may find some of the Buddhist meditations helpful, and that's completely fine, because a lot of the Buddhist meditations can be done you know, without necessarily becoming a Buddhist. Meditations, some of the meditations on patience, on love, on compassion, things like this you can do, or meditation techniques, how to develop concentration. These kinds of things can be incorporated into religious practices of what other tradition somebody belongs to. So it's not that to study Buddhism or to use any of the things you learn, you have to become a Buddhist. That's not correct. You can take things from Buddhist and add it into what you already have while remaining in your own religion. Okay? But if you choose to become a Buddhist, then you should be clear that you're becoming a Buddhist and not make soup. You know, that's what Lama Yeshe used to tell. You know, we make soup, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, put in this, stir it all together, and then we have our own religion, yeah, our own variety, which is essentially everything that feels good to me and casting out everything that pushes our buttons. But that doesn't always work so well as a practice.